But I don't think. But I'm not live yet. I don't think.
You will be in 5 seconds.
All right, hold on. I feel like I need to see it in studio.
It says I'm live now.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, give me 1 second. Because then I forget always also how to see it live in studio on my YouTube.
Oh, in the control panel?
Yeah, that's what I need to see for the chat or whatever.
Yeah. Should be the live stream, just control panel and content section. I'm live, my end. Hello. What a twist.
Actually, don't see it. Why don't I see it?
So
yeah, see, I wasn't actually live. I don't think. I think I just went live.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Based.
Okay, but I don't know why I can't see my stream right now. Hold on.
Oops. Oh yeah, I've just got your notification saying you're live.
Okay, awesome. Okay, can everyone hear us?
I hope so.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, looks like we got some people here. Okay, well, I see smiley faces. I assume people can hear us then. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and start then. Okay, so for people who don't know and who didn't see this is just kind of like a last minute stream I wanted to do with Vegan Gays today. Because I watched the dumpster fire that was that debate, I guess we'll call it, with Garland Farms. So for these of you who don't know, Vegan Gays and the Nutrivore debated Garland Farms, and then with a surprise guest named Jim Bob.
The clown.
And it was pretty rough. It was one of the rougher debates I'd seen. So I guess I want to kind of start out just asking you, Ellie, what led into debate? Give us just the sort of brief backstory, and then tell us just how the debate went.
Yeah, so Garland Farms commented on one of my videos. If anyone wants to see the full thread, it's on my most recent video on Penguin Zero. He said people were telling him to destroy me in a debate, and I said, okay, we can go into a Zoom call if you want to go on the Crucible, which he said he wanted to go on, then I would like a debate partner because I know what the moderators are like. Because I knew it would be like a 2v1 anyway. So I was like, well, I might as well have someone with me. And yeah, he was like, oh, I don't need a debate partner. I asked him for a proposition. The first one he gave me was about 23 lines long. So after a few propositions that he changed, we got to the prop. And then, we, the day came and everything. And we were in the back room. Nutrivore said, because Andrew, the moderator, wanted some clarity on what the proposition was, even though I'm pretty sure it was sent to them in advance. Yeah, Nick said, I'm assuming it's just an appeal to hypocrisy because that's what it looks like. And Garland said nothing. Andrew was like, okay. And then Nick asked that question, for clarification, is it this? Assuming nothing of it, because in the back room it wasn't a problem. And then it devolved to the point where Garland wouldn't ask the first clarifying question about his proposition. So
that's basically so from the viewer's perspective coming in, right, like not knowing like all the backstory or whatever, what it basically looked like to me is you came in, you read the proposition, Nick asked a clarifying question about the proposition, and it wasn't even really like exactly a clarifying question. It was kind of like what the proposition was clearly saying already.
Yeah.
And you were just making sure that this is in fact what it's saying. And it was just like pure defensiveness from there on out.
Yeah.
like he did not want to answer anything. He thought everything was going to be like painting him into a corner or whatever. And so that cycle basically just like washed, rinsed, and repeated for about an hour and 40 minutes.
Oh yeah.
So I'm going to try to show a YouTube video clip of it from Nutrivore's channel. And we were having some severe technical difficulties before this. So if this doesn't work, I'm just going to totally bail on it. So give me a second real quick here. All right.
Oh, my end are probably not going to hear this, but just so you know, Debug Your Brain is streaming. So if you want to hear this clip coming up, go to Debug Your Brain. He's been tagged in the title.
Yeah.
I said I'm a lesbian.
You got a little smile out of him for that cute little comment you made.
Thank you, by the way, interruption. Sorry that you can't hear this, guys.
This is where it all goes wrong.
You guys are missing out on the juicy shit if you're not watching over on Debug Your Brains channel. This is a good way to get you guys, like, bully you into going over there, actually. Thanks, the real thing. Thank you.
Immediate defensiveness.
I wish we could hear on this end, but it won't, like, audio capture for some reason. Which is annoying. Gonna have to figure that out for next time. Yeah, just mute me for now.
So again, none of this is an answer to Nick's question. None of this is an answer.
Oh no, never. That's funny because I, like, know what he's reacting to. Because I lived the trauma.
Okay, so for those of you who didn't see it, that basically just happened like 50 more times in a row. And it was really hardly any more clarity was gained than that. So I guess what I kind of want to do, Ellie, is just kind of talk about, maybe segment this into like 3 sort of separate categories of conversation that we're going to have. Like, so I kind of want to talk about the general vibe and the meta convo and just like what the Crucible is about, what those guys are about. Then I want to do a little critique of the debate itself, specifically a critique of like you. So
I'm in
on.
trouble. Oh
Strap
god.
in. And then after that, I do want to talk about crop deaths and just like what I think is a fairly, I guess, a fairly lean response to the crop deaths argument. And I'll bring that up with a paper. So yeah, so first, like, you know, we kind of just talked about like what was actually happening in the debate. Let me know like what sort of feelings were going through your body during that debate, and I'll tell you what feelings were going through my body as I watched.
Yeah, I just wanted my bed, to be honest with you. I was just like, wow, I stayed up for this to be called slippery and stuff. It's like I actually want to have this debate. Like I didn't just stay up at 2 o'clock in the morning to just fuck around for like a whole like what are you playing at? And I was kind of like annoyed. Like there was one, like there's 2 things. I don't know if you want me to wait to get into those, but there were like 2 things that I wish in hindsight I did indeed do, or that happened.
We'll get into those in a minute. I kind of want to talk about that about the guys first.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, the feeling then was just like there was a lot of projection happening, that they were accusing me of stuff, and I was like, why are they accusing? And then I realized, oh, it's because I think they're doing that, so they're just projecting so hard, trying to make it look like it's the other way around. So I came away feeling a bit like, like in a really bad relationship. I was like, whoa, what just happened? I felt crazy. And I was like, wait, I've
Yeah.
just been gaslit the shit out of. Like, it was amazing.
Yeah.
That was my feeling.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I think I had similar feelings just as, just vicariously as a bystander
Mhm.
watching you, is that I just felt very annoyed throughout the whole debate. I could just feel like a lot of anger and annoyance just at this, like, I don't know, basically their whole vibe, but then also the way that they approached the debate.
Yeah.
I think the thing is like, one thing I was noticing is there's this like quote, and I think it's from the book How to Have Crucial Conversations, where they talk about how if you and the other person feel safe together, you can have any conversation. You
Mhm.
can have the hardest conversation in the world, like talking about the most uncomfortable things imaginable. You can do it as long as you and the other person feel safe together. And then the corollary of that is that if you feel unsafe, you can't have any conversation. Even the most like innocuous conversation is going to be just absolute um, trash to get through. And that's I think exactly what we saw, because you simply just asked him, like, sort of saying is like the prompt clearly was saying there was hypocrisy there. Like I don't even know
Yeah.
how to read it otherwise.
Yeah.
That would make any sense. And so you're just like, yeah, so you're just saying there's like a misalignment of values, right?
Mhm.
And the thing to me is that it just struck me that he felt so unsafe in that environment, and honestly kind of unsure of himself, that he could not even like just explain it and give you that clarifying comment, because, and he even says it, he's like, I'm not playing your game, I'm not going to fall for your trap, I'm not like going for these tricks or whatever. And it's just like, he just, to me it was like such a weak move for him to do, and so to my mind transparent, that he was afraid that there was like something coming that he absolutely couldn't defend against. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, you know what? Interestingly, though, he had a debate before on the Crucible where he was alone against two people.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think he's actually that intelligent, to be honest with you. I think he's got a case of the Dunning-Kruger going on. I think, because Andrew even said as much in the Crucible, that he like was pulling some strings and getting someone else involved. I think if it was just Garland and I, or Garland and someone else, he would have been willing. I think personally, I would bet a lot of money that he was coached into not answering the question. Like, I think either Andrew or Jim Bob knew where the line of questioning was going down, and they knew that he wouldn't be able to defend it, so they coached him, because he was saying words like that were coming out of Jim Bob's mouth. Like when later on to Avi, he was like, it's arbitrary. It's like, I don't even think you know what arbitrary means. So I don't know, so I think he would, if it was just him and I, he would have gone, yeah, hypocrites, obviously. But I think there was some discussion about not, because Andrew even said as much, like twice.
Yeah, and hold on, I'm going to move my mic a little closer. I think
Okay.
people are saying they can't quite hear me. So yeah, I think the Dunning-Kruger, it's good that you talked about that, because I was also going to bring that up. And also with the coaching. So like, later on in the debate, is Andrew the moderator? That's the moderator.
Yeah, apparently.
Andrew. Yeah, the moderator, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's like, I predicted this. I knew it was gonna, you were gonna devolve into like asking these like extra questions about the prompt or whatever.
Self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, dude, he like that's obviously what it was,
He
because
doctored it,
like you said, Garland Farms would have come in and not even like thought he would have been like, yeah, hypocrisy, sure, whatever. But like Andrew engineered that into it, and then it was like, aha,
I knew it. It's like, fuck off, mate.
It's like, because you coached him and told him that was gonna happen, So like, I think that was just like one thing where I was like, this is so dumb, and like, what are these guys doing?
I know.
The other thing too is, and again, I don't know that much about the guys' politics and things. I assume they're right leaning. I assume they kind of seem like libertarian to me.
I think so, yeah. Like,
And I think the thing that was funny to me about him bringing this other person on is that, like, I think a thing commonly now is like to make fun of safe spaces, to, not give people too much comfort, to kind of let them find their own way, feet to the fire, all that sort of thing. And it so clearly is what Andrew didn't let happen to Garland Farms. Like, as you said, like, there was definitely some Dunning-Kruger, like, he didn't really know what he was getting into. But, I mean, if that's the case, then, like, let him fail. Let him have that experience, fail, learn from it, and say, okay, there was some stuff I didn't know. Let's come back for a second debate. Like, that's fine. That's totally fine for two debate partners. It's fine to like get blown out in a debate, realize what you did wrong, and come back. There's nothing like that's just totally normal. And it's very much the whole like feet to the fire, learn from your mistakes.
Yeah, we've all
so
been there where we think we can
Yeah.
debate and then we have no idea. It's scary, but it has to be done.
Yeah, I mean, it's never happened to me, but I can understand that it has happened.
Happened to me many a time. I'm like, oh,
Yeah, exactly. Like you come in and you're like, oh wait, well, I'm out of my depth.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I don't know why they didn't just let him learn that lesson on his own.
Because they're anti-vegan.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It felt like a
Hmm.
super, super safe space, like super defensive measures, and even like the thing of like the moderator bringing someone in, not only as a surprise, but also coaching
Yeah.
one of the debaters. Like this is this is the least
He,
objective moderator I've ever heard of.
yeah.
This is insane.
And
Like
this
this
is
isn't a debate channel.
this
Like
is
that's
what
not a
really
debate
pissed me
channel.
off about being so tired, because had
Mm,
I have been more sharp and aware, because as soon as I woke up the next day, I was like, hang
mm,
on, because they accused us of being slippery and saying that we had all these tactics, and it was mainly the fact that they got so caught up on the apparent inability of us and sneakiness of not clarifying a question before the debate. What I should have done was go, okay, if you can't move on from the fact that you're upset that we didn't clarify something you wanted clarified before the debate, I would like you to
mhm,
remove the person you didn't ask to be in here before the debate. And I think if we had requested Jim Bomb leave based upon that, the pre-sup bullshit, the burden of proof switching
mhm.
would have, been not as present, and Garland would have probably cracked and just admitted what it's actually about.
Yeah.
So I'm really annoyed that I was just so tired that I couldn't see there was clear, like, hang on,
Yeah.
ironically, hypocritical to be like, oh, I can't believe you didn't sort this out before the debate. It's like, oh, by the way, during the debate, we're going to put someone on and we're going to put you in a position where you can't say no. Otherwise, you're going
Mhm.
to look like a coward. Like, that's so
So
slippery. Like,
so this is this is my main critique of you. It
uh-huh.
is kind of it's sort of the thing you just said.
Mhm.
So I don't think whenever they said can Jim Bob come on, this is I think probably the strongest critique I have of the whole thing.
Uh-huh.
When he put Jim Bob up on the screen is like, could Jim Bob come on? You guys should have said no
I know.
immediately.
I regret.
And
I
like
agree.
I think you just I was gonna actually mind read as to why I thought you did that, but you
Yeah,
just said it
that's
yourself.
why I
And it was
knew what.
because you
Yeah.
thought it looked like a weak move to not let him
Hmm.
on. But I actually think the opposite is true. I think letting him on was the weak move. And the strong move would have been to respect your boundaries. So
Yeah.
from any perspective you look at it, just two people like you and Andrew agreeing beforehand. There's two people had an agreement. From the debate perspective, like this is like an invalid move for debates, and even from a business perspective, right? Like you and Andrew are both running a business here, right? You're making money off this. You had a business agreement about how this was going to go. You had a meeting set up, and it had very strict parameters. Again, like I said, I've told people before, I work in
Hmm.
the corporate world. If someone pulled whatever the analogous thing like that would be in the corporate world and just like sprung something on you last minute, like that would be a no-go. That would
Hmm.
not be like something that we would tolerate. And so like what I think that and I hope this isn't coming off as too harsh because I know you were tired and even in the moment when he was doing it in the moment,
Yeah, it's out of nowhere.
I was
You're
like,
like,
Ellie, say no. I
I
was like,
know.
please say no, Ellie, please
I
say no. You
know.
didn't. I was like, But
I regret that
I
immediately.
I think you could have reframed it in a way that also just made them look weak because I think it really was weak on their part, right? You could have just been like, look, we agreed to this. We're all adults. We're all consenting adults. We all said this is what we're going to do. He's a big boy. Garland Farms is a big boy. He agreed to this. He doesn't need to have someone else come on. And
Hmm.
even like even regardless of whether or not you think it's fair, like because you could even been like, look, I think that we have a big advantage, not only because I think our position is stronger, but yeah, there's two of us, and that's fine because that's what he agreed to. Like, so even if this is more fair, I'm not going to agree to it in the moment because like you're crossing a boundary. We had an agreement. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? We can do this later. We can come back later and have 2-on-2 or whatever you want. Blah blah blah, and just like stuck the landing because it would have made their request look weak rather than your denial of the request looking weak. Because to me, that's the reality of the situation of what was like the weak or the cowardly position there. But yeah, so
Yeah.
that's my like strongest critique for you.
It was my mistake. Like, I'm on this trajectory, and this won't stop me from doing it, but like where I'm trying to be fair to people, because I thought, you know what, you
Mhm,
actually probably should have a debate partner. I thought it was a mistake for him not
mhm.
to have one. So I
Yeah.
thought, so I was trying to be fair, but if I'd known that it's ironic, they thought we were going to be slippery, so they decided to be slippery instead, but
Yeah.
actually we were being fair, and that was to our
Mhm,
detriment.
mhm.
Because then they decided to get slippery. But I really do
Yeah.
wish I'd just seen in the moment, I'd be like, hang on, if you're not happy with things being sorted out before the debate, Jim can go now. Like I should have,
Yeah.
I'm like, I looked back and I was like, why? Can you not see?
Yeah.
They're playing this like manipulation game so hard right now.
Yeah.
And usually you're quite good at seeing it. But I was just like,
Yeah.
so-
Yeah. It was like, this is what I'm saying. So like, I don't want to come across as too harsh because I don't know these people, you know. And the other thing too is that I don't know, whenever you're doing a YouTube channel, there's always like some sort of like pizzazz and like provocateur sort of you know, just I guess sort of like dramatics that you want to bring to the table sometimes.
Mhm.
But the impression that I get from, the best way to describe it is just like juvenile and immature.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean that in the sense that like they're reacting in ways that I would expect like a middle schooler or like an early high school guy
Yeah.
to react to things. And I'm not even joking about that. Like, this is the thing is like, again, from, I feel like I have such a weird maybe outlook on this because I haven't been in the YouTube game that long. Like I said, I just like work in the corporate world, and all of their like the way they're reacting to things is like ludicrous. Like, you would immediately be in like somewhere to be like talked to, like, hey, like the way you're talking to people is not
Yeah.
like, this is not appropriate, it's not going to work, it's like totally not good for the business. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's so weird to see adults, and I'm guessing these guys are like somewhere between like 30 and 50, especially like they're not even in their 20s.
No.
Like just
Like,
the
I can get
general way
away with
they're
it.
going
I was the
about-
youngest one there.
yeah,
Like-
exactly. Exactly.
So I can call
And
people
so-
cunts.
There you go. There you go. So yeah, I don't know. I guess the whole thing was like really like astounding to me to watch. Like, I think whatever consideration I had of like, oh, maybe I'll go in the Crucible someday and like do some sort of debate was
Yeah.
just totally destroyed
Killed.
there. Like, it just felt like a total joke to me.
Mhm.
Completely this is completely absent the like whether or not he was answering the hypocrisy thing. Just like completely beside the
Yeah.
point. Besides that,
To doctor something beforehand, you shouldn't
Yeah.
be a moderator. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, bringing someone in alone, regardless of who brought them in, is totally like not a valid move.
yeah.
But then the fact that it was the moderator, and then the moderator is like arguing with you two, it just
yeah,
Yeah.
and then
It's
he
like-
was like, "Oh, personally, like, I knew it was going to happen because Elle, I don't think you're good at philosophy." I was like, "You're a you don't what the hell?"
Yeah.
Like, I've come here to moderate, and then like
Yeah.
them trying, like, I don't know, afterwards, like to be like, "Oh, you stay on a bit longer," like, you know, I'm sure
Mhm.
you enjoy it. I was like, "You're playing a game with me right now. Why the fuck would I stay
Yeah.
on? You just want to like bully me now." Like, that's literally what you want to do. You've been trying to
Yeah.
take the piss. Yeah, just amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, it was like really astounding for me to see. And again, like the other thing is, maybe this is a little ageist or whatever, but whatever. Like, I've seen like streamers who are like whatever, you know, like late teens in their 20s getting into stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, I remember back then I was a little younger. I was kind of like would fly off the handle and stuff. But like I said, just like the fact that these are all like very much adults, you know, by chronological age.
I know.
like watching them act like this, I was just like, this is absolutely insane to me. And that's the other thing where like, to me, they came across really weak because they were so in their feels. It was crazy to me. Like, they didn't even let the debate get anywhere, and they were like just so upset by everything.
Mhm.
It's like I don't. Yeah, so I don't know. I felt the whole thing gave me a really gross feeling. Even like the thing that was so transparent to me. Sorry, I feel like I'm just like going off here.
You're
But-
mad. You're venting. It's fine. I feel you.
Like, I don't know if you've ever, you know, if you ever like talk to like a younger guy and maybe he's not so like great with like women or whatever, and like people will be like, oh, just be confident, you know. And they'll try to like tell him, and some people will be like, oh, you gotta act dominant, you gotta act aggressive, you gotta like whatever, right? And then he'll go up and try to talk to someone and like be dominant and be aggressive. And it's like so obviously like a transparent, just like fakery. You know what I mean? It's not the real deal. It's just
No.
like a facsimile of confidence. And that's just like what Garland Farms did that so many times, these like flaccid assertions of dominance where he was like, no, Elle, you're going to answer my question now, and you're going to do this. And it was like, it was so cringy
Yeah.
because like he did not own it at all. It was like, this guy is not dominant. No one in his life listens to him when he talks to them and tells them to do things. And like, this
No.
is him like grasping at like, oh yeah, I don't know, man. It was
It's
just
like when he tried
that
to
was
give
like
me
the cringiest
advice.
part to me. Like I actually felt bad for him in a way. I was like, oh God, like my dude, don't just like stop trying that.
It gave me such satisfaction when he tried to give me advice at the end, and I was like, well, you know what? Considering you couldn't answer the first question, I cut him off and like left halfway through his advice. So I was like, oh, thank God, I at least
Yeah.
got that. But yeah,
Yeah.
the burden of proof switching was so
Mhm.
like, and a lot of people had critiques about like the fact that we wouldn't come off like the argument.
Mhm.
And to be fair, there were a few times where I was actually like, look, let's just assume that's what you're saying. But like,
Mhm.
I'm glad we actually didn't, because like people don't seem to understand. Like, I mean, like from a couple of days ago, I uploaded a debate that I had with somebody on my Salads channel. And what I usually have is very different from like a debate on a debate panel. When you're on a
Mhm.
debate panel, my motivation is to show that my opponent is ineffective. That's
Mhm.
it. Like when I'm having a debate with somebody on my channel and they're just coming into a Zoom call, I'm trying to either see if I can change their mind,
Mhm.
or if they are seem so unreasonable, I'm just going to try and make an example of them to the viewers. Those, you know, those. So there's three different motivations like going
Yes.
on separately. So people are like,
Mhm.
why didn't you move it on? Why do you? But in a debate, if we're trying to demonstrate that like the opponent can't even like begin with the first question about the assumption of their proposition, that they
Mhm.
aren't like capable of having this debate and shouldn't even be
Yeah.
bothering. Like that was the entire motive, to just show how ridiculous Garland is in this realm, and
Mhm.
we achieved that. So as much as I'm really pissed off that I did reading, you know, I wanted to like have these
Yeah.
discussions, and that I had an idea of where it was going to go, and it didn't get to do that because people obviously they're gunning for blood, and then they're frustrated that we
Yeah.
couldn't get it out of them, and they're like, I would have said
Yeah.
this. It's like, yeah, well, you saw it after the fact and knew
Yeah.
what happened next. Like,
Yeah.
unfortunately, we don't have that luxury. We tried so many
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
I literally even
So
tried to explain. Sorry, I literally even tried to
okay.
explain like why it would seem like it's a hypocrisy thing. Like, multiple times I used
Mhm.
analogies, just trying to just show, like, just in case he didn't understand what hypocrisy even meant. But yeah, he just yeah.
Yeah. I don't. This is the other problem I think with. So I will say I don't think Garland Farms was tracking much of what was going on
Mm-mm.
in discussion. Like I don't think he was understanding any of like the future moves or like the meta level of what was happening in that conversation. I just don't think that he was really tracking, and that's I think that kind of like goes back to this thing where he just seemed to be saying the thing that someone told him to say,
Yeah,
which
and
is like, don't give in to saying that this was hypocrisy or whatever it is.
and I
You know
know
what I
you
mean? And that's
shouldn't
just like,
like insert too much about someone's like intentions, but he is a big conspiracy theorist, and I think
mhm.
mistrust is probably his middle name. So I'm pretty sure
Oh yeah.
like he just assumes that I'm this evil, like
Mhm.
conniving. He kept saying it. Like I was just like, what? No,
Yeah.
I just have a better argument than you, and like I'm gonna like like get you to try and substantiate your claim, which I thought he would do.
Mhm.
But yeah, apparently I'm evil, conniving. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So I think so this is a kind of like a broader critique, and you kind of touched on it too, was that like, what am I trying to do
Mhm.
in this conversation, right? And I think this is like I've said this before, this is one of the problems to me with debates because debates aren't fundamentally about exchanging ideas and
No.
arriving at truth. They're about winning and losing.
Mhm.
And when it's about winning, again, this just goes back to like him not feeling safe, him not wanting to lose. So it wasn't about, oh, I want to get a better understanding or
No.
whatever. It was about, I don't want to be a loser, right? I don't want to lose this debate.
Mhm.
And so like I feel like it just like I feel like as a from a viewer's perspective, to me, this is kind of why I've been very slow to even do debates, and also why I've been trying to watch less debates, especially when they're like super formal debates with like propositions and stuff, is because I just feel like the value they bring is not commensurate with the time investment of like watching them.
Mhm.
And so like I guess this is and maybe this will be a sort of like this is like less of a critique, but more like things I wonder if you would have said this, could you have got him back around? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I don't know. I think it was probably a lost cause, but I do believe in playing to your outs and like trying, just throwing up Hail Marys and shit. Um, so I think two things I thought maybe I would have tried. One is, and you did this a little bit. I wish this would have been more I don't know how to say it. just like more
Exercised.
exercise, more gravity behind
Mhm.
it. Yeah. So I think you should have stepped back and like, Garland, look, I just want to be clear here. Like, I'm not trying to attack you with this question. This, I think, is just a very honest read of your proposition. Like, there's nothing behind this. I'm just making sure so that when we go forward, we actually know what we're talking about. Because a lot of times these debates will just diverge into crazy spots, and people get confused about what we're actually talking about. So, like, all I'm trying to do is just get clarification on what I think both of us are already 99% sure you're saying. Like that's all this is. This isn't a trick. It's not a manipulation tactic. That's all I want, and like we can like move forward after that. And I think maybe, and you'll notice like Natalie Fulton has also said this. When you're doing outreach, sometimes someone's getting mad. If you do that, like back off and be like, "Look, man, I'm just talking to you,
Uh-huh.
person to person. Like this isn't to attack you. This isn't to hurt you." I wonder if maybe that could have cracked him. I think still low probability, but like I don't know, like maybe something like that.
I think given literally like in any other aspect, like I would try that more. But given
Mhm.
his like the fact I could tell he'd been coached for a while,
Yeah.
given the environment it was on, they'd been in the Discord hanging out. I think he'd already made up his mind that I was a
Mhm.
conniver, that I was nasty, I was the enemy. So if I tried to say, look, because I said it a couple of times, that I'm not attacking you, I'm not trying to like do anything, I think that would have only solidified further that I'm like some sort
Mhm.
of like slime ball trying to like manipulate him. I really
Mhm.
think in that instance, I would bet a lot of money there would have been nothing I could have said to him on that day that would have made him trust
Mhm.
me. Like,
Yeah.
and again, this is my first ever debate panel, and I don't do them either. Like, if
Yeah.
someone wants a reference of like the debates that I like, on my Salads channel, I had a discussion with
Yeah.
someone having a dilemma about hunting, and it's very like I'm messing about, having more of a conversation, asking questions, like trying to be friends with them. I'm not doing the here's the proposition, here's the blah blah,
Yeah.
because
Answer the proposition.
like I'm not trying to do that, like, but on a panel it's like, okay, assuming the panel was like a debate panel, but no,
Yeah.
it's more of a clusterfuck. Great.
I don't even know if it was that.
Yeah,
I feel like that's speaking too highly of it.
yeah, it's really, it is in the most pure sense of the word, it is pathetic. It was
Mhm.
absolutely embarrassing. And I can see why. I was like, wow, I see the Crucible everywhere. I see everyone go on them, but they've not even got 10,000 subscribers. And I see why. Because it's like,
Mhm.
it's just a shit show. And it's like somewhere like Modern Day Debate would have been so much,
Mhm.
like, that's a panel I respect. I think they're much better at moderating
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Yeah, they're good.
But the Crucible is, we're just trying to like piss people off. Now I see from the backstage as well, like the level of conniving that was happening.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, you shouldn't be doing this. Like, fair play,
Mhm.
anyone can moderate, but can you do it well? No.
Mhm.
Like, even I've done moderation in the past, not very well. That's why you see me rarely do it. I'd like to
Mhm.
try it a few times more, but for the most part, I'm not good. I have to share my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to remain like truly objective. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um so I think I want to talk about that too a little bit because someone was mentioning Avi in the chat here. So even when Avi went on later and was talking to Garland Farms,
Beans.
yeah, that was amazing. um, even Avi was just like, "Hey, so here's stuff," and he was like literally just going through math, and Garland Farms starts doing like this or like I
Mhm.
forget some like weird things like these really like condescending hand gestures. And it wasn't even like there was no like
Mhm.
this was like a very neutral like way that Avi was coming at him. And he was still like acting like super
Mhm.
immature. Like and I mean like super like doing this is like again, like this is like
So
what a
rude,
middle
so
school boy
childish.
would do.
Yeah.
Yeah, like literally childish. You know what I mean?
And this
So I was like,
solidifies my view, like, because like he could hate me and think I'm conniving.
mhm,
Avi
right.
and Pee he hadn't met. But he was already
Yeah.
like, fuck. So
Mhm,
it's like, I think because he's so anti-vegan,
mhm,
he just sees as soon as you're vegan, it's over. You are the, and you know how he kept randomly bringing up that we're trying to, it was something like push onto the world this like slop that will
mhm,
like hurt them or something. Like, it's like he really is reading
yeah,
this intention on vegans. So
yeah.
in my personal view, as much as I'm definitely going to be doing outreach soon and like trying all the methods that I've learned from people like you and from reading certain books,
Mhm,
um But in this instance, I really think there was
Yeah.
nowhere to go. Like,
Yeah. I think it was almost as hostile of an environment as you could possibly have
oh
for a
yeah,
discussion. I think like I don't think I've seen like something get any more hostile or defensive or whatever than that. Even and like just sorry, just I know I'm just like all over the place here, but another thing with the moderator, Avi came on, totally answered his soybean question, right? And then so he moves the goalpost and he's like, well, land use, arable land. Avi also answers that. He's like, where's the funding from? He's like, it's from like the person who did this study is like me, is it like in like the FAO person who's into animal agriculture, And it's like he had nowhere to go. And there was like this pause, and then the moderator's like, well, guys, and I just want everyone to know I'm not rescuing him here, but we do have to get to other questions. It's like this
yeah.
is
I was
clearly
like,
this is the
oh,
most interesting this debate has been the entire
time,
time. This is the most interesting and the
and you
most
stop him.
informative.
Hmm.
Yeah, and he's like, oh well, I guess we got to get to some random questions, which we're going to be trash questions.
And,
It's like,
and then
yeah,
like
that
unfortunately, then Avi
yeah,
starts talking about me and Nutrivore, and I was like, no, don't like, they're
yeah,
playing with you now. They're trying to like,
yeah, yeah,
but yeah, I just. I was gonna say something, but it's like gone from. Oh yeah, like I was listening to the Avi part, but by that point in my stream, I was hallucinating. I was like, I couldn't even. I was just so like I was waiting for a bit of blood, like everybody else was. So I was
yeah,
like, I'm not leaving till I get blood, and I
yeah,
got it on the bean thing.
yeah.
Beans by beans.
Well, yeah, that was
Love it. Classic.
that was that was amazing when he was like, "You got to count it by soybeans." It was like
Yeah.
this guy is like off the rails.
Like, as much as we didn't get to what we wanted to, I think
Mhm.
overall it's still a success. Like,
Yeah.
it demonstrated like how dishonest the anti-vegan crew are on the Crucible. It advises
Mhm.
against bothering going on there. It shows how
Mhm.
big my balls are. Like, they are
Mhm.
big, they are dangly, they are metallic, they are massive because I
Mhm.
went on there, so I'm happy with that. Yeah, it's just like it just shows the dishonesty, and then luckily PP and Avi went on and showed that he has no fucking idea what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And people were like, well, like you should have got on to these things, but basically like what Avi was going on about and a couple more things would have been what we brought up had we had
Mhm.
the chance, but apparently we didn't want to go there. Like,
Yeah.
wow, why did
Yeah.
I prepare all this shit then? Like,
Yeah.
just yeah.
Yeah. It was pretty great. So yeah, I don't know. The whole thing was just kind of
Pain,
like,
death,
yeah.
horrific.
I think that's this is what I will say, like, as a viewer, just as like a final thing that did kind of suck watching it. Um, And I totally understand why you didn't go on and why you stuck to your guns there and just did that. But it did suck as a viewer because I was like, I do actually want to see this get
Yeah.
talked about.
So
I wish there was some way to have gotten around that in a way that still like kept him like held his feet to the fire on it. But yeah, so that kind of sucked. But yeah, let me see if there was anything else I wanted to talk about. Oh, yeah, just there's all sorts of little stuff. Even like Andrew asking if Nutrivore had calluses in the beginning, like such
yeah,
weird things. Like and like once he said he did, he was like, oh, okay, well, never mind. It was like clearly what he's going for there is some sort of like, I don't know, Nick is soft. He's never like worked a day in the field, so like he can't say, he has no
yeah.
like.
You know,
It's like what is he going for here? It's like just so weird.
it's weird because I knew it was kind of something strange was happening.
Hmm.
Because think about it, that Garland Farms was having the debate with me initially.
Hmm.
Why did they bring on Nutrivore to clear the proposition up? It was
Yeah.
like he was just, so it's like they wanted to like tag him. I don't know. It was just like, why? I was like, hang on, why aren't you asking me? But I'm kind of glad they didn't, because I wouldn't have said the hypocrisy thing in
Yeah.
the start to demonstrate that, like, you know.
Yeah.
But I was just like,
Yeah.
hang on.
Yeah. Yeah. I felt like, yeah, to me, the summary of the debate, just from a like, I guess from a personality standpoint, is it just seemed like Garland Farms was very afraid.
Yeah,
It seemed that he couldn't track what might happen, and because he didn't know where it would possibly go, he was too afraid to answer that question, and he he couldn't get past
He
it.
he even said, "This
Strangely.
is why I
Yeah.
wouldn't go into a Zoom call with you." And he said it was about me interrupting, but he was like initially interrupting me. Like Jim Bob was initially
Mm.
making fun of my voice, and that's why I ended up asking him if he was on crack, and why
Mhm.
I was like, if you could stop being a cunt for 5 minutes, that'd be great. Like, but I'm pretty sure initially he just started like going at me and like,
Yeah.
oh, Harry Potter, Harry Potter. So that's why I was like, bottle of water,
That's
bottle of
so
water.
weird.
Like what? Like what the fuck? Like what's like you? And that's why I was like, you're just a fourth wheel. Like why are you being like this? Like
Yeah.
and
Why
he
did
he should have gone because it added this tension of like you're not even supposed to be here and you know it. And it was like,
Yeah.
oh, there's a game being played here.
Yeah.
So I just wish it was the tension only on their side and that like they hadn't actually played that game and just assumed we were playing a game.
Mhm.
Because then it put me like I was just so tired. I was like, you are grown adults and this is embarrassing. And like you were
Yeah.
all polite. And like multiple times, if I don't like someone, I have like clear evidence of people coming on my channel who I don't like, who I think are like maybe even evil if I even believe in that. But I still am polite to them. It's as soon
Yeah.
as they start getting arsey with me that I'm just like, no,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to remain cool when first off someone else is being like kind of mean to you. But for me personally, it's like extra hard to remain calm when someone is being like I don't know, like condescending and irrational all at the same time. It's kind of like I almost find it hard to describe exactly what they were being. It was like a combination of things that all kind of like
Cunts.
yeah, there you go. I mean, it is like yeah, it's like this perfect storm of like rage baiting, whatever it is that they were doing, as you say.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was I did want to talk about a couple of my favorite parts of the debate. That was obviously one of them. That's what the thumbnail is about. I did think that was funny.
I didn't even
Again,
like, it just came out. I was just like you know when
Yeah.
you're just so tired you can't even hide your feelings. Like,
Yeah.
usually I'm just like but then I was like, actually no, I can't believe you've wasted my time.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. And these guys also, right? If I'm not mistaken, these are the dudes who have bitten just like insane bullets, right? Like the moderator has said like he's totally fine with someone drowning puppies in their
I think
backyard.
so. Yeah.
And Jim Bob has said like he's fine with setting dogs on fire. Like
Yeah, Jim Bob,
just crazy bullet bites, which I sincerely hope they do not believe. And that's like solely for like some debate bro, whatever. But just like this is like just like these like one like check mark after check mark of like these are not individuals to be taken seriously in any way. Like this is not a serious conversation. I thought another really good thing that Nick did actually was just ignoring Jim Bob some of the time.
Yeah.
So not even like answering him and saying I'm not interested in that, just like straight up just like stonewalling him.
I did that a couple of
And-
times as well. He like,
Yeah.
kept asking me what my pronouns were. I just ignored him. I was just like,
Yeah, another just
freak.
complete non sequitur, like trying to like poison the well in some way. Like these two believe in pronouns, therefore you can't trust anything they say. You know, like this is like the sort of like logic I guess they're going for or something.
Yeah, I was just like, cringe.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's why again, this is why I think like the child analogy is good for them because whenever you were like ignoring them, it's like Jim
like-
Bob actually kind of shut up after you ignored him. He was just kind of like, and like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like, yeah, okay, this is what a child does. You just ignore them for a little bit, and then they're like, okay, I'm not getting attention. I'm not
Yeah.
getting the attention I need, so I'm gonna like back off.
Such a
So yeah, I
baby.
thought that was pretty good. I thought you in the moment had a really good analogy that cut through Jim Bob's analogy where he was like, well, yeah, like if I ask you to go get coffee or whatever, what are you going to be confused about that? And you're like, no, but like you wouldn't think it was weird if I was like, did you want oat milk or almond milk in it? You know, and I thought you it wasn't an immediate clap back, but you got back to him quickly enough, and I thought that was like it just cut through why that was not a good critique
So
of what you were doing.
ridiculous.
So I like that a lot. Oh, at one point Nick just said, no, I refuse to answer your question. And that's actually the part that I laughed the hardest at. He's just like, no, I refuse. And again, like no one said, like no one like they were just like, it's like, okay, like that's all right.
My
And then-
favorite part was when Jim Bob started talking about soap. He's like, what does soap mean?
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing too, is because I think what they were trying to do is they were trying to create some analogy between you asking for clarity on the proposition and then just asking these totally insane questions.
yeah.
And it was
And
like,
it
these
didn't
are
work.
like this one does not look like the other. These are not the same things. You two are like extremely focused on the same question over and over and just need an answer. And they're just going off on these like yeah, just
Hmm.
completely insane tangents.
And why I said in my chat, and like with the pronouns thing, I think like it's quite clear why they were trying to label me as some
Hmm.
like left woke person, because
Hmm.
obviously I look a bit gay, I have tattoos, look like someone with pronouns in my bio,
Hmm.
so it's just
Yeah.
like I think it was to further divide.
Oh yeah.
It was just like, this is again
Yeah.
childish. Oh my
Yeah.
god, you have a red trousers and I have blue. It's just like, oh my
Yeah.
god, just
But that's the other, yeah, is that it's just purely this team stuff,
hmm
and it's like again, like I'm assuming they're right leaning, so to their base, if you said something about pronouns, like the base is going to be like, oh, they're stupid
that's part of
pronouns,
why
like
I
whatever.
did not answer. I was like, look, we're already
Yeah,
not
no,
working here, and
it doesn't deserve an answer.
no.
It really doesn't deserve an answer, especially in the context of that debate where it's like completely irrelevant. I think so. I think that's one other thing too, is that like they kept asking what you guys thought as vegans, and something I wish that y'all would have said would have just been like, I could not be vegan and still be having this debate. Like, you can play devil's advocate. You can just debate things like where you're not the, like I could go in and have a, like there could be a transphobic person.
Mhm.
I could debate them about trans issues even though I'm not trans. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
me being trans or not is irrelevant in a debate when we're debating some sort of proposition.
Yeah.
And so they kept trying to push back on that, like, oh, you guys, like, I need to know your vegan position. And it's like, you actually don't.
No,
Like
it was
someone
so
could have come in who
clear.
wasn't vegan and still argue against them. Like that was like another thing where I was just like, yeah, I don't know.
It was just clear burden of proof shifting, because they wanted to, why are you vegan? And then it would have been like, because this and this and this. And then Jim Bob would have gone to Presup. That's all that
Yeah,
was.
yeah,
It was just trying
yeah,
so hard to get to Presup and be like, well, you can't actually know right or wrong, or if this is immoral or
yeah,
not, because where
yeah,
do you ground your meta ethical position? And I'd have been like,
yeah.
in your fucking bumhole, piss off. It's just, I was not in the mood. No, like the fact he was trying to he brought up Presup in
Yeah.
this, it's just like, you were clearly here as just a red herring. Like,
Yep.
it's just like
Yep.
amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. It was. So, okay. I feel like we went through all that stuff. And again, like, this sounds weird, but I genuinely, I'm not saying this stuff to insult them. Like, I'm, like, I'm really not.
Mhm.
Like, I genuinely just, I find it to be quite strange. And like, what I'm hoping is my charitable explanation is that they're like provocateurs who are doing this like solely for YouTube because like they think it's funny or something. And I genuinely hope that that's not their personality on a day-to-day basis whenever they're confronted with some sort of like conflict or whatever. But yeah, that's just my read on how they were acting. Um, as far as the sort of crop deaths stuff, did you have anything you wanted to say? I'm going to pull up something in a second here, but did you have anything like you wanted to say about like crop deaths, like just like general rebuttals to it? I mean, he didn't really get anywhere, but we know where he's going, right?
Yeah, it
We
wasn't
know.
to go too heavily in into the data. Like, I was looking into the data for my own, like, just to make sure
Mhm.
I was like right and stuff. But yeah, mainly it was to show this. This is why we're talking about the hypocrisy, to show this dissonance between a vegan's actions and their values. And
Mhm.
secondly, we wanted him to even substantiate in the first place that it's more unethical. Like, and because the assumption is that he's saying it's more unethical because it leads to more deaths. Well, the problem is he wouldn't have been able to substantiate that, because it, like in pasture land, it's like, well,
Mhm.
because there's it's closer to like foliage, or like a forest, there's going to be more wildlife, and with more wildlife
Mhm.
there's going to be more range in the trophic pyramid, all the
Mhm.
animals who are killing each other. If you have pasture land, the cows are killing animals. There are animals who are
Mhm.
killed on behalf to protect the livestock animals.
Mhm.
There are animals who are more likely to fall to predation on pasture land. So it's like, how could you even begin to quantify that this is the case? And I also
Yeah.
wanted to ask him, and this would have been a slimy thing, if he thought it were impossible to have a world where perhaps, if you do think that these don't align with the values that vegans hold, that it could align and these industries could consider animals. You know, it'd be like similar to, say, if we had cars on the road and there was like no lights, no traffic lights, no nothing. It'd be kind of like, you could analogize that to what crop agriculture is like. But if you put in like safety features and you know, different methods, do you think it's impossible to see that world where we could reduce it and maybe even to zero? And either he would have said yes, it is impossible, and got completely wrecked by Nick for saying impossible, or he would have said no, and it would have been like, then what the bloody hell are you whinging at? Because if like, no shit, vegans don't have their way yet. Like no shit, like animals aren't going to be considered in industries that are baked within a society that stabs animals for a sandwich filler. So there was many avenues we were going to potentially go down, because there's so much to where it doesn't make sense, but those would have been the big ones.
Yeah, I think that the thing you mentioned there is something I've been thinking about. I sometimes colloquially in my own brain call this the innovation stagnation fallacy, which is like basically this idea that whatever the state of technology is now is the state of technology. And so people are like, well, we can't move forward with this because, you know, people used to say this, like, and maybe this is dating me a bit, but back when we didn't have the little LED light bulbs, you know, people would make complaints about so the first generation of LED light bulbs, they had this really long delay, and not really even really long, but you'd flick the switch on and it would be like 1/1000 and then they'd come on. And there were so many people, I was like, yeah, we should, you know, use LED lights or whatever. You know, people are saying, yeah, we'll reduce, you know, whatever, like a small amount of electricity. And a big counter to that from people was, dude, they take an extra second to turn on. Like, I'm not like, it's fine if you want to save the planet, but like, I'm not doing that. And so the first thing is like, an extra second to turn on is so trivial anyway, like it's stupid. But it was like, there was no recognition. It's like, yeah, but as we buy them, they're clearly going to fix that. Like, do you think this is an insoluble problem? Like, we can never fix this like 1 second gap between clicking on the light and it coming on. Like, clearly this is a new technology and there's going to be like kinks to work out, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that the same thing just goes with this. And I see that a lot of the times throughout many, many different arguments where people are like, well, it's like this right now, so we can't do it. And it's like, yeah, but, oh, thank you, Ryan Krebsbach. So Krebsbach? Okay, yeah, I got that. So yeah, it's like, like I said, I just see this happen over and over with many different things. And it's like, it's such a weird thing, especially considering the trajectory of innovation, that people aren't just saying like, okay, yeah, but if we onboard this, like a thing that we want to do, that's going to drive innovation to it. And so then we're going to be able to achieve these things. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, it's just like the stereotypical cases, right? Like, we have like mini like computers in our pocket that can basically do everything. We've like literally been to the moon, but we're not going to be able to solve these problems of like, I know, rodents getting run over by tractors. Like,
people who think these things can't be solved are living in delusion, because literally as I was a child, like I remember like tape recorders and VHS and like having to put a CD you know, in it so I could listen to it, but I had to keep it level, otherwise it would, you know, sound, I would have never imagined having all this stuff. But so to say, oh, that would never happen, you'd sound like an absolute fool 10 years later. It's I don't know why people are like that. It's like, just read a fucking book and just like find out how much has changed in the last 10 years, 20 years, 100 years. I don't know what to tell you at that point. Like,
and like this, and I'm not sure if you actually mentioned this either, but the other thing too is like, it's not only that we're like not that it's like a normal sort of thing where we're going to try to innovate to it, but it's like there's like 1 to 2 to maybe 3% of people are vegans in the sense that they care about animals. And so it's like such a small fraction of the population even like cares about this right now. Whereas with these other things, like, you know, massive amounts of people will care about like getting a better light bulb or whatever. And so like, basically just saying that to say like the ceiling is so high, like, you know what I mean? There's so much room to that ceiling, and there's like so much like to go there. So I don't know. Like, that's always struck me as kind of like silly.
It's so like crappy, because it's like arguably the people who are actually going to care about crop deaths, as you say, are vegans, and the people who pretend to care about crop deaths are the non-vegans who want to use a stick to prod vegans with, to just it's so rhetorical and painful to witness. It's like, you don't give a shit, you literally pay for animals to be stabbed. Like, what are you talking about? You don't give a shit about whether or not they live or die. Like, don't even pretend. It's painful.
Exactly. Yeah, no, it's pretty rough. Yeah. So I want to show something real quick, and we might be running close to our end time here. I don't know how long we've been on. I haven't gotten a warning yet, but I'm guessing
54
we're
minutes. So
54.
yeah.
Okay. Well, let me show this real quick. I'll try to get this in a second here. So I just want to point out this paper. This paper is, I think, a pretty good quick response for vegans to have to the crop deaths. Whenever someone starts to talk about, here we go. So the first thing, whenever someone talks about crop deaths, the quickest response as a vegan is something just like, well, animals eat crops too, right? Now, if the person has any sort of like, if they've watched their Joe Rogan and all that stuff, right? They're going to be like, well, like animals eat stuff that we can eat. They eat parts of the crops that we don't eat, And so this is kind of the rebuttal to that. So this paper is called Livestock on Our Plates or Eating at Our Table. And so I just want to point out here. So whenever you hear this, like 86% of plants are inedible to humans. First off, the thing is that it's that they are not currently eaten. So that's different than inedible, just so everyone understands that. Inedible, I take to mean you literally can't eat them. Whereas not currently eaten means you can eat them. It's just that sometimes we don't, right? So that 86% number is even like a little smaller if you're actually talking about truly inedible. But whatever, just take the 86% number, right? That comes from this paper. The thing that's so funny about citing this is that literally like a sentence or a line or two later, it says producing 1 kilogram of boneless meat requires an average of 2.8 human edible feed in ruminant systems and 3.2 kilograms in monogastric systems. So even given the fact, according to this paper, that most of what an animal is fed is not edible by humans. We'll say not edible by humans, right? Even if we take it in the most charitable sense. Even given that, it still takes roughly 3 times the amount of human edible feed to get that same amount back out of the animal. And so what this basically means is that anything you come up with, like, the crop deaths or fertilizer is a problem or pesticides are a problem, any of those things are going to thus be magnified, even when we're talking about the part that's edible to humans. So still magnified, edible to humans, like this is sort of like, to me, now again, this doesn't address things like rotational grazing necessarily, but for the majority of any sort of animals that people are going to be eating, this is what this is talking about. The extra important thing here too is that this name, Ann Mottet, and then a couple of these other people as well, I believe, if we look at that, like who exactly that is, this person is not a vegan. So this is coming from a very non-vegan friendly source. So let's see here. So this is the person, Ann Mottet or Ann Mottet. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it. Livestock Development Officer at the FAO, has a picture of animals right up there. And if you go down, you'll see that she has worked as a livestock development officer, livestock policy officer, all since 2012. This study was done in 2017. So like, again, you can't, first off, if the person is citing this 86% figure, that means they clearly think this paper is credible, which means they also have to think the next claim is credible, that it still takes about 3 times the amount of edible stuff, right? And they can't even say, oh, but this is just some like vegan propaganda. This person is like the least vegan propaganda there is. You know what I mean? So like this paper to me, and again, it's not as if this is the only paper. There's a ton of papers that all at least sort of if not directly address this, address it in all sorts of oblique ways, as far as, obviously animal agriculture being worse for the environment, being more resource intensive, all that stuff. But I just would say that that's a good paper to go to. It doesn't really address something like rotational grazing. So that would be like, I would check out that report, Grazed and Confused and things like that. But I think the thing that most vegans are familiar with is Our World in Data, right? Which is a great source, but there's a lot of other studies out there. So just understand that. And again, like I said, I would keep that one in your pocket. But yeah, I think that pretty much, I mean, do you want to have any like closing statements?
Yeah, I don't do debate panels, and this was kind of why I do modern day debate. But like, I'm not like, as much as I get called one, I'm not a debate bro. I don't enjoy like formal debate or anything
Mhm.
like that. I prefer just having like a conversation with someone, maybe it getting a bit shitty, and then like we deal with it
Mhm.
afterwards, and it's kind of like I don't like an actual debate.
Mhm.
And today was kind of like, oh, this is a really good reason why,
Yeah.
because you just have to trust that the moderation is going to be good.
Yeah.
But yeah, even though we didn't get to the stats that we wanted to, like Avi in Perspective Philosophy managed to go through that and demonstrate that he doesn't know what he's talking about in the brief moment before the moderator saved his ass yet again.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's kind of like, it's a good test for me because it is really painful when people clearly cannot see what's happened, and that like they go with the side who manipulated, and like
Mhm.
they fall for the projection.
Mhm.
um and I really wish that on that day I I had been as skeptical and untrusting of Garland as he had of me.
Mhm.
Ironically, last night I watched Troy, and I really felt like
Yeah.
I got Trojan horsed.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just shouldn't have done it. Like sometimes you're right to follow your gut feeling and just not trust anyone,
Mhm.
like that person. But I felt like being nice that day. Big mistake.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's kind of a shame that he just assumes I'm evil based upon I don't know what. Um, but yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah,
Oh
I get
well.
that. I think that's like like I think especially as a vegan activist, right? What we're trying to do is we're trying to get more people to go vegan. We're trying to get people to adopt veganism. We're trying to obviously end animal agriculture. And so like I think one thing to think about, like if you're considering doing debates like this, is kind of like look at the opportunity cost, right? Ask yourself, preparing for this debate, why is that coming up? Okay. Like preparing for this debate, actually doing the debate, the sort of mental anguish I have during and after the debate, right? Could I have spent that time in better service to the animals, right? And so I think that's a question that when I was watching this debate, I was constantly asking myself. Um, and like, especially when you have what I consider to be these like fairly bad actors, you know, it's like this question of is it worth platforming them in any way? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I think
Even like,
my desire to speak to Garland
mhm,
overrode every
yeah,
like it was just like, oh my god, it's
yeah,
Garland Farms. I need to like this
yeah,
guy is the crop deaths king, and it's just such a bad argument, so I'd love to
yeah.
talk to him. So it was too like, so for me the opportunity cost of like I want to debate Garland Farms, that. And but yeah, I didn't, which it's really annoying. I didn't expect those guys to just know he wouldn't have an argument
Mhm,
and try and help him. Like that's just so
yeah,
fucked up. Like it like,
yeah,
and but yeah, I'm slippery. Sorry guys, my bad.
yeah,
Slippery me. Um yeah, but oopsie.
yeah, yeah.
Pain.
You got you got like Garland Farm honey potted.
Yeah, and never doubt my ball size. My balls are massive. Never. If anyone wants to call me a coward, refer to this moment where I went into the lion's den knowing that they were going to fuck with me, but not even to that
Yeah,
degree. Like, even then, I
yeah,
was painfully naive. Bless me.
yeah. Oh, the thing I didn't show is the thing that we talked about where it was like pre-debate,
Ah, yeah.
where Nick actually says it. Let me just show that real quick. And if you get cut off, farewell, bon voyage.
Yeah.
Uh,
And guys, you're
but
not going to hear this, but go to Debug Your Brain's stream. He's streaming as well. If you,
yeah,
yeah.
sorry. Let me put this up real quick because this is important. So this is pre-debate when allegedly they'd never heard about this hypocrisy thing before. Uh,
It's really annoying that you can't hear it at this end. But yeah, basically, Garland Farms is blabbing on here about what the proposition is, even though it'd been written down multiple times. There's Andrew having his 50th cigarette of the day. So yeah, he's still going off on one. He's still like, it's literally like 2 sentences long as a proposition. And then Nick comes in like, oh yeah, I just take
right,
this
so
to
this is it.
be an appeal from hypocrisy. Garland just stares into the fucking abyss. Yeah, I forgot to do that, David.
Yep.
Do it for next time.
So just nothing there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nick says this sounds like a standard hypocrisy critique. Looks like hypocrisy. Garland Farms says nothing. So, and then again, like acts super surprised later. So like this is, and yeah, I don't know. I forgot to show that, but I mean, that is an important thing to also understand here. It colors the discussion like a lot differently. So
Just, oh God, if I could do anything, it would have been like just given myself the energy to realize what was happening and be like, look, if you're so upset this didn't happen pre-debate, Jim Bob has to go because I'm not happy that this wasn't solved pre-debate. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
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 And then they would have probably kept him on and I'd been like, okay, if you're going to keep him on, answer the question. Easy peasy.
Yeah.
So we're both upset by something. Let's resolve
Yeah.
it. Like,
Yeah. I wonder if you could have done that, if you could have like leveraged it as a bargaining chip.
I
been like, look,
should have.
look,
That's my
either
big regret.
like either Jim Bob like gets the fuck out of here, or you answer this question.
Because
whatever.
I
Like,
don't think he would have let him go. Andrew wouldn't have wanted him to leave because he was so ready for it to be a shit show. He would have been like, okay, answer the question then. Come on now. I'm the moderator. He would have pretended he's moderating. It's only fair. Like, the burden of proof is on you. Like, it would have, and I'm just like, oh, in an alternate universe, I had a nap before and I was fresh and ready to go. But no, my bad.
Yeah.
Never debating at 2 in the morning again. Okay. It's just not the one.
Okay. That's amazing. Yes, I don't know. I think that was pretty much, I mean, like, were you okay with reliving that trauma again? Have you processed it?
I don't know. I don't know. I've been like, it's really quite a thing. Like I take advantage of the fact because I'm just so used to it. But like when you are going into a territory where you know people don't like you, it's really like, it's a lot. Like it's even when I go to vigils and the police are there, they hate us, and the farmers are there, they hate us. I forget because it's just so normal to me to just be around people who hate my guts. But then
But
it
I thought
does
we were doing this to like virtue signal. Aren't we doing this to virtue signal so people like us, right?
Yeah, exactly. Every day someone hates me, and it's just like, so I take advantage of the fact that I'm used to it, but it's like I'm not really actually as used to it. It's just like denial. So it's kind of like it's a lot emotionally. But fuck it, this is part of the job. This is what people watch us for, to be masochists. So fuck it.
And hopefully we're inspiring them to be masochists.
Yeah.
This is the thing, right?
Yeah, good for your health, guys. Definitely do it. Definitely.
There's lots of ways to get active though. I'm actually doing a video coming up here, hopefully in 2 weeks, about like all the different ways you could possibly get active.
So many ways. And they don't involve all masochism, but I will be doing my my outreach stuff, like actually just proving that I can do it, the debug your brain juggling vegan.
Just going out soon.
Yeah. I'm just gonna do it, and I'll show you how I'm a charmer. Okay, I'll tell you. I'm gonna make it happen. You'll be proud.
Awesome.
It won't be
I'm
that
very
shit
excited.
show. I will make leeway because the person won't be unhinged. Hopefully.
No, like again, like most people you talk to are like actually like that's the other thing. This is the only other thing I dislike about debates is that I don't know if you're familiar with this thing called the availability heuristic, but it's like things that pop into your mind easily. So things that you've witnessed recently or things that have like a really strong emotional resonance, they're available to your memory. This is the availability heuristic. And it causes your mind to think that their frequency is much higher than it is because they come to your mind easily and they're like, I think they're like emotionally valenced or whatever. And so like especially before I like went out and started talking to people, just from watching all those like Earthling Ed, Joey Carbstrong, and just debates in general, like with someone like Destiny or whatever, I was like, man, people are going to be really antagonistic and really aggressive and like all this stuff. Right. And that was the availability heuristic in action because I got out there and I was like, oh, this is like,
nice.
Actually, most people are pretty nice. They actually feel a little uncomfortable with the questions. They seem to feel like a little guilty, or if anything, a lot of the times the people are kind of like, I think just telling me what I want to hear.
Yeah.
Like that. It's much more, I think, like it's much more common for people to be like, yeah, you're right. No, that's yeah, okay, I get it. Like, you know what I mean? To at least for me, to take that sort of like position, then like, no, fuck you. Like,
Yeah, no, like what I've been doing, like, because like subconsciously I understand the availability heuristic. I've been watching
Mhm.
a lot of those kind gesture videos, and it's like
Yes.
so they just go up to. I know some of them are probably staged, but like I
Mhm.
think a lot of them aren't, and it's like
Mhm.
most part, if you're just nice to somebody, they're not going to be horrible to you. Like for the most part, it's
Yeah.
not like a war zone. So if I'm
Yeah.
out there and I'm like, look, if I'm going to do the whole speak to me, animal lover, can I interview an
Yeah.
animal lover, get a free snack,
Yeah. Yeah.
so already I'm going to give them cake or something, they're already going to be happy with
Yeah.
me. I am the
Yeah.
cake giver. So and I'm already like
I am the cake giver.
I am the cake giver, they are the animal lover. Like already they're coming into a zone where they're like, oh yeah, I am an animal lover. Yeah, I really like
Yeah.
resonate with that, and I'm gonna ruin their life in a nice way. They won't even know it's happening because I'm really conniving. So, it's got to be done.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to do that really soon. I'm thinking like film as soon as next week. So a new era.
Same.
I'll finally
So
do it.
I haven't done outreach in like a few months now because I've been trying to focus on like other things. Like there's some videos I want to do, I wanted to kind of get better at live streaming.
Mhm.
And so yeah, I'm actually going to be going out next week too. So we'll
Oh,
have some
based.
you know what we should
Yeah.
do?
What?
I don't know if you want to do this or not, but we could like post we could like post our videos, whatever, like
Mhm.
normal. And then you and me could watch the videos and like critique
Oh, yeah, that
ourselves.
could be
You know what I mean?
interesting.
That might
I
be
feel
fun.
like that's maybe we should wait though, because like, I mean, no, actually, because I've done it a lot of times. I just haven't filmed
Yeah.
it. So I
Yeah.
already have the experience. Like,
Yeah.
so, that's fine, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. That could
I'm
be
just
fun, I
so
think.
mad at myself. I've done this so many times and I just
Mhm.
didn't think to film it. Like,
Yeah.
there could have been so much more
Yeah.
utility in other people seeing it.
Yeah.
So yeah, been there. So I should know what I'm doing by now. So you can be as harsh as possible. Because a lot of it's just human interaction. I mean, I struggle with that. But I'm very anxious and I'll try to hide it as much as possible. But obviously, in
Yeah.
the output of attempting to mask, it's very like, woof. But yeah, should be fine. We'll see.
Yeah. I think that would be fun for sure.
We'll do that. I'm down.
As long as yeah.
I'm gonna
I
be
think
like,
that would be-
I'll be like, you're perfect, and then you'll be like, and then I'll
Well,
cry. I'll be in my bed like, Justin, please validate
I mean,
me.
I have ones that go sideways. I can show you guys. There's one I haven't posted that went pretty sideways. That's pretty interesting.
I mean, I'll always remember that one
Yeah.
with that guy, and you like, I don't like him.
Oh, yeah,
I
the
could
guy-
tell you didn't like him, like before you even said. I didn't realize, because didn't you say like I want like to David, like I wanted to punch him or something?
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
like him at all. I really did. I felt like violent urges towards him.
Yeah, I didn't know it was to that extent, but I was like looking at the way you were like looking away, and I was like, you have no interest in this guy because he's kind of a douche. Like, I don't
Yeah.
blame you.
Yeah, and
Um,
it was honestly totally absent his argument. Like I could just tell this would be a guy that I did not want to hang out with.
Yeah.
Like we could have been talking about anything. I just was like, "Ugh," he like makes me kind of like cringe for some reason.
Yeah, and you just sometimes get an off vibe, and like most of the time my off vibe has been right. I don't
Yeah.
like, maybe it's just my bias of like what I'm paying attention to. But I go with that. But for some reason, I didn't go for it with the Garland debate. I just thought, you know what, I'm just gonna be fair, because they're already gonna be thinking I'm a bit nasty and conniving.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was like they were gonna paint the picture for me. Like, damn. But yeah, my bad. Sorry that I tried to have a nice human conversation in a debate. Will not happen ever again. If I go on a panel, I'm rooting for blood. I don't give a fuck. You are the enemy. I'm ready like to fuck you up. Okay. Yeah. So, but yeah, panels, not the one. They're not like
Yeah.
the place you'll find
No.
me. But you will find
Yeah.
me with like people in my chat being like, "You're wrong," and I'll be like, "Come on here, then." Like, that's what I prefer. To be like, "Hello, buddy."
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh.
Well, I think that's the other thing too, is that we didn't talk about, is like there's a performative nature to a debate
Mhm.
when you both have a channel, right? Like this is the other thing with like winners and losers. Well, like Garland Farms has a channel, right? And I was going to say the Crucible has a channel, which shouldn't matter since he's supposed to be the neutral like
Yeah,
moderator or whatever. But like
supposed to be.
it 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 adds this extra layer of like I cannot say that I'm wrong. I cannot like give them an inch. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I think that's like it's just like another what is a good like I guess modern day debate is probably the most
Most neutral platform, and they pride
that's the
themselves
one
on
that I feel
that.
like yeah
Yeah.
yeah
Other than that, you're just not really gonna get it.
there's always going to
Trying
be
to
some
think of
sort
the
of
other
like fight.
ones, but yeah. Oh, politically provoked. Again,
Mhm,
that's not. I've not seen very. It's better than Crucible. Um,
mhm.
but yeah,
Never heard
I
of it.
do see now why he didn't want to talk to just me. And he
Mhm,
wanted to go on there because he had his little like. Of course, like as much as you want to say you wouldn't, like
mhm.
I'd hope I wouldn't. But if I knew that the mod was like on my side, I'd feel more comfortable.
Yeah, yeah,
Of
of course.
course, but I'd like to
Like,
say that like I'd
yeah,
like to hope that I wouldn't pick that option because it is slippery.
yeah.
Oh wait, oh sorry, I am slippery, so I would pick that option. It's
Yeah,
so sad as well. Like of course though, you've just got to like psychologically accept and let go that you cannot
mhm,
control what people think of you, and that's it. That's a really hard battle every day you have to do.
yeah,
But it's tough when you pride yourself on trying to be as good as possible, and then like someone comes along and then they just really like not even think but assert you are a slime ball.
mhm,
It's like, oh god, that sucks. It's a shame
yeah,
because like I'd be nice to you if you weren't being a dick, like
yeah,
um
yeah.
but never mind.
It's another hard thing too, is like when someone insults you, like I think that honestly the best thing to do is to like not react to it, like if that's possible, right? Like, but it's like it's interesting because it's only a certain part of the audience who's gonna think that's a good way to handle it, right? Because like to me when there's the back and forth, it looks to me like both people lost emotional control. They both look a little bit less whatever, less I guess, yeah, I don't know, less good. They look a
Hmm.
little weaker to me, I guess I would say. Um, and so to me, if someone insults someone and the other person just like lets it bounce off them and is like, okay, so what's the proposition? Like
Yeah.
that to me is like a much stronger response. But I don't think everyone thinks that way. I think some people feel like that's someone like letting someone run over you. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
that's
I don't see it that way at all. I think that's a weird read on it. But again, it's like this, like, well, how is the audience going to read this? You know, is like
well,
a
that's
constant
a
concern.
combination of two things like happened there. So obviously I was tired, so I wasn't as patient. But I know the Crucible. I've watched a lot of things. They appreciate a I'm gonna fucking like tell you to fuck off.
Yeah.
Like if it was a modern
Yeah.
day debate, I'd never do that.
Yeah.
I'd just never. I'd be like, oh, this is not the like. You know, they more have a giggle. You know, maybe it's some shots, but they're kind of funny. Like, you
Mhm.
know, to try and get the mod to laugh because he sometimes has a little
Yeah.
but yeah, I'd never do that there. But on Crucible, it's a bloodbath. Like people are just childish. Like you're dealing with children.
Yeah.
So I just thought, you know what? Fuck, you are on crack. Like I'm just gonna tell you, I think you're on crack because,
Yeah.
and I think as much as people might think, oh fuck this like weirdo like vegan, I think people did appreciate my bark. I
Mhm.
did have a few comments that are like, oh yeah, I watched your
Mhm.
debate and like, oh, I'm not vegan, but like I like that you didn't take any shit because he was
Yeah.
like dodging hard. And
Mhm.
like the guy who came on after us, like did you see the PC guy? He was calling me disabled and saying like
Oh, I didn't see
you know
that.
that I was her, but I was like okay, and he was like mocking the fact that I wear glasses. But even he was like, Garland, you should have answered the fucking question, like what the fuck.
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
he thought
Yeah.
that there was a proportionality problem though, like, but again though, if we'd got to the statistics we could show, like as you
Yeah.
said, the issue that you have with the crop deaths is going to be astronomically bigger
Yeah.
of a problem. So if
Yeah.
we debated PC and he answered, he would have got mashed by Nick there. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, and something else I want to point out about that study that you just kind of reminded me of. So that study was looking at by mass, so kilograms, um, not by individual corn
Beans.
kernels or
Beans.
soybeans. So Garland Farms might have to have a word with the director at the FAO about that. Maybe you should contact her. But when you do it by calories, it actually, I think it's even worse. Because like when I was just kind of looking at like the calories for like cow flesh, if I just look at like, I think an average cow, I think had, what was it, about in a pound was like 1130 calories. But when you look at like a pound of things like oats and corn, it's like way more calories. Sorry, not way more. It tends to be in like maybe like 1300, 1500, 1700, something like that. Someone can look up the numbers. But generally, the inedible parts tend to be things like grasses and things, which just have less calories in them. And so that's like a 3 times increase as far as mass. But whenever you actually look at the calories, it even seems to spread out more, maybe 3.5 times to 4.5 times. I can't quite remember. Like I was like messing with the calculations. And depending on what it is, they can be like 20 times more or something. If you're looking at like a certain kind of grass, like the least nutrient dense grass, and like corn or something.
Nutrient dense,
and so
though.
like, yeah, nutrient dense. Yeah. And so like, yeah, so it's like even those numbers from the paper that clearly doesn't have a vegan bias and is already a widespread of a threefold increase is actually even more increased when you look at calories. And like you know what I mean? It's like, so like,
Mhm.
and this is from the paper with the 86%. So like this is just why I tend to cite that paper. I just think it's, even on their own terms, it looks bad, right? Like people can be like, oh, our world in data, like the Joseph Poor study, he's a vegan, even though that's actually, again, another thing that's like against them because he wasn't a vegan when he started the study. He like went vegan midway through the study.
Mhm.
And so like, I don't know. So I just think, I think that's like a really good study to throw out there because it does seem to defeat the argument on its own terms or on their own terms, but
And it's funny that they cite it.
yeah, I mean,
It's
that's the
just
thing. That's
proving
like,
they didn't read it. Like,
yeah, that's like, so I first looked into that study. I was like, wow, 86%, that seems like high. And, and they were saying, oh, it's inedible. And like, I literally read the first sentence and I was like, this doesn't say inedible. It says currently not eaten. And then
yeah,
I read
like
the next few
like
sentences
alfalfa.
and I'm like, this is totally like this is opposite land. What is going on here?
Yeah, it's like alfalfa, for example, is actually something that's quite nutritious, and it could be eaten, like, but it isn't. It's used primarily to feed animals. Like, that's its main purpose. Like,
Yep.
so yeah, that would be an example of something that's like not inedible. It's just currently not really utilized for human consumption. But
Yeah, and there's part of the soy in that too that is like just not currently eaten but could be eaten.
mhm.
And there's even like another part of it that I was like looking up and it like they think it might have some sort of like functional medicinal properties and things. But this is like the other thing with like the innovation stagnation fallacy I was talking about. By the way, that's not a real fallacy. I don't know if there is a real fallacy that is expressing what I mean here, but that's just what I call it in my head. But like I think the other thing is like the people think those inedible parts, you either feed them to animals or like there's nothing to do with them. You just have to set them on fire, right? And first off, there's already things you can do with them. But again, were we to remove animal agriculture, you'd immediately start to see giant composting facilities that would compost that or would process it into something useful.
Yeah,
Like,
no, we just dump
it's
it.
just like yeah, they're not just gonna be like, well, set it on fire. Like clearly someone is gonna figure out that's a lot of biomass, like people use it for like green manure and stuff. And like, so yeah, I don't know. It's just like, just other stuff, just for people to kind of know, like if you do get into this argument, there's
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't even just do this with like crops, he does it with supplements as well. He tried to say to Avi and PP, oh, do you guys eat supplements? It's like,
yeah,
animals are supplemented in the industry. Like, I just, again, a problem if you have it. Why is it not more of a problem on the animal agriculture? It's ridiculous.
But even that's because I know he was like, yeah, well, this doesn't account for the fact that you haven't accounted for like all the environmental effects of taking supplements. Or I don't know if he says environmental effects, but whatever, the effects of taking supplements. And it's like, dude, my B12 supplement, like the entire bottle with the supplement probably weighs like, I don't even know, like 1/10 of a pound, and it lasts me for 2.5 years. The amount of resources and energy that go into that are nothing. Like I don't know, what do I eat, like 2 or 3 pounds of food a day? I'm not really sure. But like this is like a rounding error, if that. You know what I mean? So it's just like these things are so
painful.
Oh, the other thing they say is about like why focus on calories. And so I just, while we're in the stream, I just want to address that real quick too. And again, these aren't like super formal addressing of the critiques. Like I could do a video that like goes more in depth on this stuff, but like
I think maybe we should to
okay, should I a different video?
No, yeah, I mean, I think
should I
we
address
should
it?
do a video. I think we should.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
like
should I shut the fuck up right
no,
now? And I'll
I think you should mention
oh,
it
okay.
here, and then we should do a
Okay.
more formal
Like a mo
version. Yeah, because
okay.
I want to do something with Chris, and I don't know if
Okay.
maybe we could do a three-way. You know what I mean? We clap
Oh,
it.
yeah. I love it. That sounds hot. Um, so, so the thing with like I see people do this a lot with studies is there'll be like, well, yeah, why did they use calories or why did they do this or why did they do that? And what oftentimes seems to be implied is that they looked at calories, therefore throw this study out. Every study, everything they look at, everything has trade-offs. Like if you look at calories, you're going to get some information but sacrifice others. If you look at mass, you're going to get some information, sacrifice other. If you look at protein, same thing. So whenever we look at things in studies, there's always trade-offs. The fact that a study has trade-offs doesn't mean it's a bad study or we should totally throw it out. It just tells you what the study's looking at.
Mhm.
And so the reason that that study when they're looking at mass, but I actually do think calories tends to be more important here, because calories is what you need to actually live. And what I see, at least in these like more carnivore spaces or whatever, I don't know what you call that, like an anti-vegan space, I'm not sure. But is that people are like, yeah, calories, yeah, so anyone can live on empty calories. And it's like, but these aren't empty calories. Like
Mm.
these calories are coming with a bunch of other stuff. And so like again, then they'll say, well, this has more B12. Yeah. But also like if you look at B12, yeah, it's gonna look better on the animal side, right? But if you look at fiber, it's gonna look better on the plant side. If you look at vitamin C, and so like you can pick and choose different nutrients. And yes, foods are gonna have different nutrients in them, right? But the thing is to overcome like a 3 times and maybe even 4 times when we're looking at like a caloric difference here is going to be massive. I messed around with it a little bit, and this is again I haven't done a formal thing on it, but I messed around with it in like a nutrition app, and like even when you're looking at a bunch of other metrics, the plants still win, especially after you factor in this 3 to 4 times multiplier. You know what I mean? Like at that point, like when you're looking down all the different like whatever B1, B2, like I don't know whatever else, iron, things like that, right? The plants are still winning. You're still getting way more of the nutrients out of these things. You know what I mean? When you look at it, like the one thing that you don't get is B12. That's like that's the and vitamin D.
Mhm.
Those are the two that you like need to supplement. And so then the question is, okay, is like these super like lightweight, like non-mass intensive supplements, where I buy a bottle and like it lasts me a year or something. Is that somehow creating more whatever it is you want, rights violations, environmental degradation, whatever it is that you might want to be talking about, in a given moment.
Yeah, and given
And it's
that
just like, no.
cobalt is like often like one of the big ones that's supplemented in animals to begin with.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, is that factored in also? Like, whatever.
Mhm.
But yeah. So even when you factor in protein, that's and I don't know, should I show this in the paper? Maybe I should show
Yeah,
one
go
more
on.
thing. I know I actually have to get back to work. I just
Yeah, it's
this,
okay. I need dinner as well.
sorry.
Like I'm so
Okay.
hungry.
I want to show one thing here, which I think is an interesting thing in this paper. Let me just find it real quick. Okay, yes, this is an interesting part of the paper. Again. So, okay. So if you look here, so this is where it's talking about where is it? This is talking about, in contrast, industrial monogastric systems range from 2.9 to 5.2 kilograms of edible protein per kilogram of protein product. Okay, so this earlier we were just talking about the amount of edible feed just overall, and now this is going to be talking about protein, right? And so what they say is ruminant systems altogether with backyard pig and poultry systems produce close to 41 megatons of animal protein per year, while consuming about 37 megatons of human edible feed protein. Okay, and so what that would say is that, well, we do actually get like a protein upcycling, okay? Now, even if that were true, we could still have enough protein and we would be getting lots of other stuff, and obviously there's tons of other benefits. So even if that were true, that wouldn't be like a reason. That wouldn't be like, oh, well, now we have to continue animal agriculture, right? But this is what I think is funny about this paper. And I don't want to get too conspiracy theory here, but it is just kind of funny how this shows up in the paper. So it says, okay, about a 37, so there's like a 4 million megaton. Sorry, let me just read it. That means they make a positive net contribution to human edible protein availability of about 4 megatons per year. Okay, cool. Well, that seems like an interesting thing. I guess I'll just continue reading here. In the current use of land and excluding indirect contributions to agriculture production, when adding soybean cakes, which humans can totally eat, right? So why didn't they put that in there? I don't know. But when adding them back in this little tiny last bit of a sentence here, right before you get to here, that you could switch over, like, I think really easily, they represent a deficit of 11 megatons of protein per year. So even on the protein front, it's a deficit. You lose protein in the system. And again, like I just think this is, and there's probably plenty I don't know here, but I just think it's weird that they start out by saying there's a 4 megaton positive on it, and then just in a random sentence, like right at the end here, when adding in soybean cakes, and an 11 megaton deficit. It's like, okay, why didn't we talk about that to begin with? Why was this just added as an addendum? Like, and again, maybe it's something where like soy cakes aren't currently eaten or something like that. But I just found it, I don't know, I just found it interesting because it's even when, yeah, this is kind of like the innovation stagnation thing too.
Yeah.
Like if we aren't currently eating them, we can eat them, and yeah. So I don't know,
it's just like
stuff I found
crop death is just it's got so many avenues of just no, what the hell do you think you're saying? And so many people have
Yeah.
eaten this copium. Like every day on my feed I get a crop desto, and this
Yeah.
is actually why I forgot to mention it was so frustrating to me that I didn't actually get to do the crop death stuff because I wanted to have that conversation. So every single time someone said crop desto, I could link that video. Like I just
Yep.
wanted it to be done. So the fact that
Yep.
he really thinks that I didn't want to have that conversation is like, actually, no, I really wanted you to just try and
Yeah.
substantiate and fail. Like, so,
Yeah.
and then go through why this just doesn't work and why you can't make that claim.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, maybe I just have to talk to somebody else or just make a video.
Yeah. I was interested in seeing it too because like so the general crop deaths I feel like I know, but I know less about rotational grazing. I know a little bit, and so that was actually the part that I was interested to see you guys talk about was the more rotational grazing aspect and get into the numbers and stuff because that's what I like to see. So I was sad that you guys didn't get into that. I wish there would be I wish there was someone who would argue that in good faith. Maybe we can find someone who's not like I don't want to say any more insulting. He's not like them who would
Yeah.
like argue it in good faith and be like, look, I really think rotational grazing is the way to go. Here's why, you know.
Yeah, a lot of people don't debate crop death like one to one. It's not
Yeah.
really and I think it's just because people can't substantiate the claim. That's
Mhm.
literally it, or they don't actually know, and they're just saying that. It's a very like I think Sean Baker said it, and then it became a thing,
Mhm.
and then so many people now say it. It's just something that like took off, and
Yeah.
um,
So someone is saying this right now in the chat, and I think this is another reason it took off. Have you seen Yellowstone? The show
no.
Yellowstone? There's this like really
Oh,
cringe
the
clip from there.
the clip with the farmer,
Yeah.
and
The
he's like,
rancher cowboy, and he's like-
yeah, I've seen
Yeah.
that, and I was like, oh no,
Where he,
it's
where
made
he
it
like
into
owns the
television.
vegan or whatever.
Yeah, I saw that. I was
Yeah.
like, oh no, yeah, I forgot about that. Is that Yellowstone?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got shown
Yeah.
that.
So that's
not long
that's
ago.
another thing. Yeah.
I was gonna maybe react to it, but what I was going to do again, I was gonna react to it after the debate and go, look, here's a crop death argument being dismantled, but Garland didn't want to go there for
Yeah.
whatever reason.
Yeah, he was scared. He was scared and confused. He just didn't understand what was going to happen. From his perspective, all that was going to happen was just a normal debate.
Yeah.
like you know what I mean. And so like yeah, he just didn't.
And luckily,
Yeah.
though, he got coached by his buddies. So
Yeah, who essentially just ruined everything.
yeah,
Made
they
it a
ruined
completely
the
intolerable
chance.
screen to watch.
People
Yeah.
could have really like learned something about crop deaths, and we could have gone through
Yeah.
some data. And it was
Yeah.
just they just really wanted so hard to be proven right about their hypothesis on
Yeah.
how it would go that they made it happen,
Yeah,
which is so childish. Like, what's the point of having this panel if not to just, I don't know, fuck around? It's embarrassing.
yeah.
But yeah.
All right. Well, let me get. Oh man, no one donated. I was hoping someone would donate to make sure that my donation thing was working properly.
Oh no, you haters.
I was like, I was staying on. I was like, come on, someone just fucking donate something just so I can make sure this works.
Oh,
Because
well,
you have the
people have
text-to-speech
tipped me.
thing.
So come on, if you've got some to spare, just go over to Debug Your Brain. Let's test it out. Now watch somebody
just,
like
like-
give you
just
like
give me,
50
like,
quid.
the tiniest amount possible. I just wanna
Tiniest
see
amount,
if
just
it
one-
works.
Well, have you set it to $1, the TTS amount? Because they might have to tip $2 to, because I think that's the default when TTS is at the like
Oh, God damn
activated.
it. I don't know. I have no idea.
If someone tips at least $3 just to be sure, because it's like the default is either at $2 or $3 for TTS before you
Okay.
change it.
Let me look at my thing. See if I know how to do this.
I'm being your stream whisperer again.
I know. Now we're just like we're talking about the meta.
Yeah, the
Ellie.
meta.
You never
Stop
talk
talking
about the meta.
Stop talking about the meta. God.
Yeah. If Nutrivore was here, he wouldn't be having this
Be
at
a bit
all.
raging.
He does
Raging.
not like talking about the meta. By the
No.
way. He's like, he will have no meta talk whatsoever.
I will engage in some of it, but I'll get bored very quickly. But he's like, no.
Oh, there we go. Thank you to Beans. That worked. Awesome. Thanks a lot.
Based.
I-
I'm not hearing it, but did it?
But I didn't hear the. Oh, see, you know what? I have a. Thanks, guys. Thank you, Vanna Moynin, and yeah. So the text to speech isn't working, but I have a GIF that comes up that had audio on it. And so
Do you
maybe
have
that
in
just-
your audio mixer? Do you have a
Thank you,
box?
Christina Harris. Sorry.
Do
Do I have what?
Do you have an alert box in your audio mixer?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is it unmuted?
Oh, I don't know. Thank you, Ian the Pig. All right, guys. Yeah, you guys don't have to keep donating. I do appreciate it, but like, yeah, we got the thing. So I obviously I'm not gonna say like don't donate, but like, yeah, but yeah, it's definitely working now. So that's good. At the very least.
Nice. Okay,
I
yeah.
got it. I
If you
appreciate
have
it,
some
yeah.
problems, we'll do a test stream and have a look.
Thank you, ethically based ex omnivore. I appreciate it.
Damn, I need a cut now. You've made more than me.
I
Disgusting.
know now I'm feeling bad.
Damn, I've had
really appreciate
someone
it, everyone.
tip me called glasses.
Glasses though.
Yeah, glasses though. But yeah.
Thank you, Beans.
Was there anything else? Because I might like address my chat and then go and make vegan chicken wings.
I don't think so.
I'm so hungry.
I'm probably gonna have you like live stream whisper me after this because someone just said pin the donations. I don't know what that means. So I'll probably do it
yeah,
all
I
off
hope you
stream.
get hours.
Like,
Damn, I'm
yeah,
gonna start
this is
charging
how I
by the
learn stuff,
hour.
yeah.
I'm
You
like,
should.
I'm
You should.
a PA to quite a few people at
Yeah.
this point, and I'm just like, but spreading the joy, spreading the love,
Yeah.
spreading the, it's the indoctrination, it's the cult, it's part of the
Yeah.
game. You've got to spread your knowledge, spread your seed. If I had
think-
any seed to give, this is my seed. Take my seed.
I think this is the problem. Like, I'm not someone who watches streams, so I don't like understand stream culture at all. And so almost all the stuff is just like people in my chat being like, why don't you do this? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do this? And I'm like, excuse me, Ellie. Like, how do I do this? People keep asking me.
Yeah, and it's a lot to wrap your head around. So I'm sure most people would be willing to help.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, there's a
But you're my person now. Like I've
Oh,
latched
no.
on to you.
Yeah, you latched on.
So,
Oh goodness, yeah.
there's no
Okay.
escape.
As soon as Justin's a stream lord, a
Yeah.
stream queen,
Yeah.
you know who made him. I will.
We'll have an official. I feel like I need to put a crown on once I figure all this out.
Yeah,
have a
well,
stream
don't worry.
queen
I
celebration
will
for me.
I will milk you of things that you know. I would just be like, right, I need you for this. Okay, help me. I've got things I could ask. And what goes around comes around. We got
Oh,
this.
there you go. Yeah. Just trading the little quid pro quo.
You got to do it. Trade your shit. What's that? Skillshare. We're just doing some internal Skillshare here.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's what you do. All right. Well, thank you
Yeah.
so much for having me, and
Yeah.
I hope that because I was able to vent my frustrations,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it seemed to piss you off. Like,
I feel it's cathartic for both of us.
yeah, I feel bad. Like, it's nice when it's just like, yo, what the fuck just happened, and people
Yeah.
are just like, you got. Why were they being just so shit? So
Yeah.
it was nice. But yeah, I should have been mean. I should have been.
That could have been funny too.
It would have been great. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I can play. I
Just
can
lean
play
into it.
mean. I just choose
Yeah.
not to. But never mind.
I
hey.
do kind of want to make a sound. I want to make whenever someone makes a donation, you say, "Stop being such a cunt."
I mean, I can make that for you. I can send that your way. I can send that your way. Hell yeah! If that's what you want, I'll give it to you. Okay. Flip me at my meanest moment. It won't. It doesn't happen often. Like
Yeah.
I'm very like chill. I know I kind of go off in my videos, but if someone's right in front of me, like I'm not gonna just be unhinged in front of them. But sometimes someone just needs to be called a cunt. It just needs to happen. And Jim Bob actually is a cunt. So I feel no regrets.
No regrets.
No, the only regret I have is that we didn't kick him the fuck out. Like, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. You should have just cut that off right at the beginning. Been like, nope. Sorry,
No.
bruh.
Sorry, bruh. Out
Sorry.
you go. Not happening today.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Well, yeah. Do you want to say something for my stream, just who are listening, just in case they don't know you? I know that we probably have quite a lot of stream overlap to be viewer
Oh yeah, I
overlap.
don't even think about that anymore. Yeah, so my channel, I'm Debug Your Brain. I've got a YouTube channel where I talk about all sorts of vegan stuff. I do outreach. I kind of talk about like ways to address certain objections. I kind of focus on a lot of like fallacies, biases. I do a lot of kind of like psychology, persuasion, that sort of thing. I'm also on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. I don't go on Facebook as much, but yeah, you can find me on all those. Debug Your Brain, just as it sounds. So yeah.
If you didn't gather, he's kind of a nerd. It's just like, wow, just kind of like, down like a nerd. It's kind of nerd I want to be, but like my brain capacity is just, I'm always like here. So
I don't think that at all. I think you're very smart, Ellie.
oh my God, I've managed to connive again. I've done it. I've been slippery. I've fooled you. Oh, again, my slippery tactics just working. I'm just too good. Just never, God.
No, I might be biased though. So.
Yeah, just a bit. God, vegans, a monolith. Like you all just
Yeah.
like each other. It's amazing.
Yeah,
No
we're a
fighting, no
hive mind.
infighting here. None at all. But yeah, definitely subscribe to Debug Your Brain. He's a salad certified. Can you just say I'm a salad? Like just so I want to.
Sure, I'm a salad.
Hey.
I feel like I put a little bit of mustard on it there at the end, a little English. Salad.
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 But yeah, thank you for having me on your channel as
Yeah.
well, especially because
Oh wait, yeah. So yeah, that's the other thing. Like, Ellie, why
you
don't you say
forgot.
who you are?
You forgot.
I don't think I
Alright.
just said vegan gays and didn't really.
Yeah, I'm vegan gays. My name is Elle. I just provide vegan content for the extreme content deficiency that people have. So sometimes it's debates, not on panels though, because they're shit shows. I have very active platforms like TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, like basically every single day. And I also have 3 YouTube channels. People don't maybe yet know, but I hate
aggressive
myself.
number of
Like
YouTube
if you don't, what I want you to come away from this is I clearly like hate myself and I need to like work through that. I thought I'd like solve that problem, but apparently like having 3 channels and talking to Garland Farms willingly, no, there's clearly some masochism going on here. But yeah, I just make vegan content and I just can't stop. I can't. So stick around. It's a wild ride.
Can you quickly just describe the double entendre that is your name? Because I didn't get this in the beginning, and I think it's pretty clever. Or did you not want to?
Oh
Sorry.
yeah, no, I'm a flaming homosexual. I'm a lesbian. I cannot be saved. So it all began actually with one of my exes. I was watching Vegan Gains, and she was like, "Ha, vegan gays?" Or like vegan gays. And I was like, you know what? I was like needing a name change because my name before didn't have vegan in it. And I was like, you know what? Like, because for me, I try to like, you know, to gaze is to like look lovingly upon someone. Like, no matter what, I really try and come at people with like some compassion. Like it might not look like that sometimes, but I am trying. I like to think I'm kind of like, I bring kind of a mum vibe to things. Because I'm not like a pushover, but I'm not like very strict either. But so it's kind of like I wanted to be like, here I'm just a big gay, and I'm just trying to come at this with some compassion, and that's what that's all about.
Yeah, I love it. I love the name. Is any of it like from like the whole thing of like the male gaze, like the idea that everything is seen through like this lens, and like now you're looking at everything through the vegan lens? Is that like part of it?
That was like subconsciously part of it as well. Yeah, because I was
Okay.
familiar with the male gaze, like because I studied sociology. So yeah, it's one of those things where like subconsciously it all kind of like works out for like a perfect name. But
It's a really good name. There's a lot packed into it. You
oh,
can
so
really,
much. Well, I'm
you can
a,
really deconstruct it, you know?
I'm one of those pretentious, pompous writers where everything has
Yeah.
to have like this double secret meaning, and there has to be a metaphor. You know, that's me all over. So it also works perfectly.
I love
I
it.
can't be
I love
helped.
it.
I have to do it.
I love it. Oh, that reminds. Oh, sorry. You have to go. I was going to ask you one more thing.
Yeah,
Sorry.
we're close with this. It's fine. You can
Okay.
keep-
So my girlfriend is doing a book club, and it's a fiction book club, and she was like, "What is like a story that's like somewhat related to veganism that like I could like read with my friends who are non-vegans? Like that would be like an interesting read. Like obviously
Mhm.
not, you know, like whatever. None of the nonfiction ones. But is there anything that's kind of in that realm that you can think of?
Well, a classic one, I even have a tattoo of it, is like Animal Farm. It would have been
Yeah,
much
yeah.
like I haven't read fiction in a really long time, to be honest with you.
Mhm.
Now that you're asking me and putting me on the spot, I like actually cannot answer, but I can give you some
That's awesome. Yeah.
references afterwards, like when my brain
Okay.
comes back. But yeah, I've half written quite a few. Like one again is kind of a double entendre.
Okay.
It's called The Seaman. So you can imagine it's the dairy industry critique, and you can imagine what's happening there.
Yeah.
Like, I love a double entendre. It's like my favorite thing. Second to only to alliteration is second only to a double entendre.
Oh, wow,
So
okay.
I love it. But yeah,
Alrighty. All right. Well, yeah, I'll be looking for a list coming from you soon.
I'll give you a list, and yeah, we should do a three-way conversation with Chris about all the data we've got, because I think we should just make a really solid crop desk video.
A crop desk video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Chris has got something that just completely just shits all over Garland from another angle. So just shit everywhere all together. I think collaboration will make it beautiful.
Shit trifecta. I like it.
Yeah. All right, super. Well, thank you for having me. And everyone go
thanks for coming.
subscribe to Debug.
Yep. Subscribe to Vegan Gaze as well.
Thank you so much. I'll see you later, man.
All right. See ya.
Bye. Oh, what a lad. Okay, you can't see me. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. You'll see me in just a moment. I'm just going to go through the tips, and then I'm going to eat food. Justin's such a lad. Like an actual lad. Properties. Hold up. Sorry. Is it going to like bug out? Okay, cool. I'm back. I'm back. What we got? Let's see the tips.
I said I'm a lesbian.
Interruption. The lad tipped £1. Good job in the debate, Mama Bear.
Thank you. It was pain. 10 out of 10 would not recommend. Thank you,
I
interruption.
said I'm a lesbian.
To Beans. The lad tipped £1. Will you ever go back on the Crucible?
Oh, fuck no. Like, they were just so, like, the conniving was unbelievable. And then, like, knowingly being part of, like, bringing an operation together and then putting it back on me and giving your personal opinions on my performance out of nowhere. It's just like, if this were their house that I went into, I wouldn't be going back. So, yeah, just really shitty. Thank you,
I
Beans.
said I'm a lesbian.
To Beans. The lad tipped £1. How do you truly measure soybeans?
Easy with Beans. Thank you to Beans. Go get some salads in the chat for people who are tipping. I want to say thank you so much. And thank you to people who went over and tipped Debug, because he does awesome work, and to support your creators that you like. I'm so tired that like I can't even speak properly right now. Yeah, to support your creators in the work that they're doing, you know, is helpful because it keeps us going. So thank you. And
I said I'm a lesbian.
Glasses. The lad tipped £1. Why do you wear glasses? Grow up already.
I know. Unfortunately, got to wait to 30 to have surgery because I'm long-sighted. But of course, making fun of my, like, I'm nearly partially blind. Like, I could nearly be registered blind. And I don't know why that guy was making fun of it. It's really cringe. Thank you,
I
glasses.
said I'm a lesbian.
Vainamoinen the lap tipped £3.
Didn't even say anything, just tipped to support a creator. Thank you so much, Vayner Moynham. And thank you for tipping Debug Your Brain as well. Like, thank you for supporting his work. That is very based of you. And yeah, who have we got as well? Ryan.
What a ding dong.
What a ding dong. Thank you so much, Ryan, for subscribing. I thought oh no, I didn't change that. But yeah, quickly, if there's anything else, I will address it. So stay on for like 5 more minutes and then I will eat us. Because I'm so hungry. Making fun of glasses is just, I mean, I guess it's kind of a compliment in a way. It's like, oh, you got nothing else than to talk about my eyesight. Like, damn, I'm harsher to myself. Like, that's embarrassing. Just so much of what happened that day was, it's so embarrassing to witness. True, Omni. True. Maybe go eat and come back. I am so tired. Like, I woke up because I was so sleepy, like, that I ended up having a nap yesterday. I woke up at 12 a.m. and I was up all night. And then, like, at 10 o'clock, I went for an hour nap. So I've technically been up for a very long time now, with a little nap break. So I'm honestly, like, knackered. Oh yeah, it was a true waste of everyone's time. I mean, not really, like, because it's like it just demonstrated the clear, the dodging, the dishonesty, and everything like that. So I'm happy with that. Like, as I said, a big objective when you're actually having a proper debate is to render the opponent ineffective in their argument and your argument, like, better. But if you can't even get to the argument because their argument's they're so ineffective,
I'm a
Michael,
lesbian.
then it shows.
Michael Askew the lad tipped £10.
Thank you so
Glasses.
much, Michael. Glasses, I know. Sick burn. You got me with the glasses there. I don't know how I'm going to recover, actually. No, it's kind of annoying, actually. Like, I mean, like, for me personally, I don't like that. I like glasses on me until my lens has to go in because I'm like, my prescription's so high. Like, I'm very excited to get laser surgery. The minute I'm legible, I will be getting it, and it's like $2,500 per eye. I will go into debt to do it, like, because even though I'm eye squeamish, and apparently it smells like burning pig flesh when your eyes are lasered, which I'm not looking forward to. So, like, similar to bacon. But, like, I'd still wear glasses. I just wouldn't have the frame in it, like, because I'm so used to wearing them. But, like, I don't like that because I have quite small eyes. Do you like how they look? What, my glasses? No, I hate them because they're very, like, they magnify my eyes, and so especially when I look on the side, it really I don't like them at all. But like I'm gonna give a fuck if they don't like it. Do you know what I mean? It's like, wow, you're a child if you're gonna really bring that up. But for me personally, it's like, oh, I really wish I could see. Like, there's things that I can't do that I wish I could. Like, one time I had contacts in. It took 30 minutes to put them in because my prescription's so high that it's really heavy. So the woman, like, was struggling to put them in, and I was like, mate, I'm long sighted, I can't see shit. Like, I'm not gonna be able to do this every day. I'm just gonna lose them. I'm not gonna see where they are. But for a moment, first time in my life, I had peripheral vision. Oh my god, I felt so. Oh, I felt like, wow, I can see everything. And yeah, just being able to not have a headache the minute I wake up and open my eyes because I haven't got my glasses on would be great. But yeah, it's just kind of weird. Like, wow, I have poor eyesight. Like, it's really cringe. How old am I? Yes. Yes. Did you assume? I assumed your assumption. Whoa. I know. Sorry, David. Sorry. I can't imagine you without glasses. I'd show you, but I have like a terrible stigmatism. Yeah, it exposes them for having like no argument. Like, what was the purpose of them? Like, Nick and I had a purpose of not moving it forward because it's like, it's the proposition. It's his to defend. We like literally just that should be very clear-cut answer, and there's a motive behind not answering it. But for him, what is the motive of him not answering? Either one, he's just so fucked off and really assuming we're playing a game, so he just doesn't want to play it, or he really just doesn't want to get through the argument and go down the tree that it's going to follow. It's much easier to do it yourself, kind of like how easy to feed yourself blind, hard to feed someone else that way. Yeah. I can't even see my finger when it's this close. It would I don't tell Nutrivore this, but I'm gonna say it's physically impossible. Physically impossible. You're 20 years old. Damn, veganism is serving me right. I'm 27 this year. Yeah. Yeah, it really does. It shows his dishonesty. Absolutely. Bye, Marley. Thank you so much for being here. 806 years old. Yeah, I'm 996, gang. The best. The best. Damn, 20. Thank you. Thank you so much. But yeah, can we get some salads in the chat? Michael came in there with a 10 quid tip. Thank you so much for supporting my channel. Thank you for supporting what I do. I'm going to be leaving the stream up today. So that'll be nice. I'm just going to take a couple of days. I'm going to be uploading some shorts and stuff, like, so don't worry, the content's going to come. But I just need to sleep, man. I need to, like, actually just sleep. It's just not working at the minute. But yeah, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much to Michael, to Vayner Moynham, to Glasses, to DeBeans, and to Interruption for your tips. And thank you to Ryan for subscribing. And thank you for being here. I do hope you're well. And until next time, salads. I will see you soon. Goodbye.